Friends, thank you for joining us for our time reading the scriptures. Tonight we resume our reading of First Kings tonight. Good evening, Don and Linda. We will be resuming tonight at chapter 8, verse 6 of First Kings. So here's the big picture of this is First and Second Kings combined. Remember, the original text is that these two books were in fact one book, one united book, broken up later. We're in the first 11 chapters, as we're in chapter 8. So it's the time of Solomon's reign. We are nearing the end of this section, which is all about the building of the temple by King Solomon. So verse 6 is our resuming point tonight. I will be reading from the left-hand column, which is the complete Jewish Bible. The text as found in the New Revised Standard Version Updated Edition is in the right-hand column. I'll make some reference to that, maybe not a lot, chiefly in order to, as it were, translate from Jewish scripture language into Christian scripture language, because there are things that, well, wouldn't sound familiar to us unless there's some explanation. And the most obvious being, remember, King Solomon's name in Hebrew is Shlomo, King Shlomo. And there'll be other things like that come up. So let's pull up the timer. And let's spend some time reading First Kings tonight. Good evening, Mom. Verse 6. So let's scroll down here to verse 6. The Kohanim is the priests. The Kohanim brought the ark for the covenant of Adonai, the name of God in a general wording that avoids the speaking of the unspeakable sacred name of God, the Hebrew letters YHWH. They brought the ark for the covenant of Adonai into its place inside the sanctuary of the house, to the especially holy place, under the wings of the cherubim, the cherubim. For the cherubim spread out their wings over the place for the ark, covering the ark and its poles from above. The poles were so long that their ends could be seen from the holy place in front of the sanctuary, but they could not be seen from outside. They are there to this day. There was nothing in the ark except the 2 tablets of stone which Moses, put there at Horeb, also known as Sinai, when Adonai made the covenant with the people of Israel at the time of their leaving the land of Egypt. When the Kohanim came out of the holy place, the cloud filled the house of Adonai, so that because of the cloud, the Kohanim could not stand up to perform their service. For the glory of Adonai filled the house of Adonai. Shlomo said, Adonai said he would live in thick darkness. But I have built you a magnificent house, a place where you can live forever. Then the king turned around and blessed the whole community of Israel. The whole community of Israel stood as he said, Blessed be Adonai, the God of Israel, who spoke to my father David with his mouth and fulfilled his promise with his hand. He said, Since the day I brought my people Israel out of Egypt, I chose no city from any of the tribes of Israel in which to build a house, so that my name might be there. But I did choose David to be over my people Israel. Now it was in the heart of David my father to build a house for the name of Adonai, the God of Israel. But Adonai said to David my father, Although it was in your heart to build a house for my name, and you did well that it was in your heart, nevertheless you will not build the house. Rather, you will father a son, and it will be he who will build the house for my name. Now Adonai has fulfilled this spoken word of his, for I have succeeded my father and sit on the throne of Israel as Adonai promised. And I have built the house for the name of Adonai, the God of Israel. And there I have made a place for the ark containing the covenant of Adonai, which he made with our ancestors when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. Then Shlomo stood before the altar of Adonai in the presence of the whole community of Israel, spread out his hands toward heaven, and said, Adonai, God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth below. You keep covenant with your servants and show them grace, provided they live in your presence with all their heart. You have kept your promise to your servant David, my father. You spoke with your mouth and fulfilled it with your hand. So it is today. Now, therefore, Adonai, God of Israel, keep what you promised your servant David, my father, when you said, You will never lack a man in my presence to sit on the throne of Israel, if only your children are careful about what they do, so that they live in my presence, just as you have lived in my presence. Now, therefore, God of Israel, please let your word which you spoke to your servant David, my father, be confirmed. But can God actually live on the earth? Why, heaven itself, even the heaven of heavens, cannot contain you. So how much less this house I have built? Even so, Adonai, my God, pay attention to your servant's prayer and plea. Listen to the cry and prayer that your servant is praying before you today. That your eyes will be open toward this house night and day, toward the place concerning which you said, My name will be there. To listen to the prayer of your servant will pray toward this place. Yea, yes, listen to the plea of your servant, and also that of your people Israel when they pray toward this place. Hear in heaven where you live, and when you hear, forgive. If a person sins against a fellow member of the community, and he is made to swear under oath, and he comes and swears before your altar in this house, Then here in heaven act and judge your servants, condemning the wicked so that his way of life devolves on his own head, and vindicating the one who is right, giving him what his righteousness deserves. When your people Israel sin against you, and in consequence are defeated by an enemy, then if they turn back to you, acknowledge your name and pray and make their plea to you in this house, here in heaven, forgive the sin of your people Israel, and bring them back to the land you gave to their ancestors. When they sin against you, and in consequence the sky is shut, so that there is no rain, then if they pray toward this place, acknowledge your name and turn from their sin when you have brought them low. Here in heaven, forgive the sin of your servants and of your people Israel, since you keep teaching them the good way by which they should live. And send down rain on your land, which you have given your people as their inheritance. We're going to pause there, friends, and next time we'll pick up in the midst of this prayer of the king at the dedication of the temple. Chapter 8, verse 37. That's where we'll pick up next time. Good evening, Anthony. Friends, have a blessed evening. And we'll pray again in the morning.